Do you ever feel anxious that things are going so well in your life that it's only a matter of time until something terrible happens? No? Or what about things are going so badly it feels like nothing good will ever happen again? If I'm being honest, I've kind of been going through something of a midlife crisis. It kind of is what it is, but skateboarding has always been my consistent rock throughout my life. So why don't we try to forget our problems with an extremely difficult skateboarding challenge? Livestream does not end until I land 1,000 different tricks. What could go wrong? I have a few rules for this challenge, but I can get to that a little bit later. Definitely have time, but for now, let's get started. So for this first session, I thought I would pretty much hit all the quote-unquote basic fundamental flat ground tricks. If you're new to skating, let me explain the 4 stances real quick. People either ride one of 2 ways, with their left foot facing forward or their right foot facing forward. We call these regular and goofy. I ride regular with my left foot forward. If when I'm riding I do a trick from my tail, it is called regular. If I do a trick from my nose, it is called nollie. If I ride facing the other way and I do a trick from my tail, it's called switch. This is kind of like throwing a ball with your non-dominant hand, and then when you're facing that way and go on the nose, it is called fakie. So the 4 stances are regular, nollie, switch, and fakie. And they mirror each other depending if you ride goofy or regular. And that's what I'm doing right here, is just rifling off all the basic tricks in the 4 different stances. So if I were to do a kickflip, I can do the kickflip 4 different times: regular, nollie, switch, and fakie. I know it kind of looks like I can do all these tricks so easily and so quickly when we're watching in this kind of supercut format, but you have to remember that every one of these tricks was not first try. Most of these tricks, it's taken me a few tries to actually land it, and this really does expel a lot of energy. So to land 1,000 different tricks is really going to be absolutely pushing my physical abilities and skate abilities. But anyway, that's probably enough for this first session right now. Let's pack up and go to the next spot. I forgot to mention that I also added a road trip element to this challenge. I thought it would take some inspiration from one of my favorite characters from the TV show Breaking Bad. This is what Skylar decided to do when she was feeling a little bit overwhelmed by changes in her life.
I f***ed Ted.
Whoa, okay, sorry, not that. That's not what I was talking about. But Skylar did actually go to this 4 corners monument where 4 US states intersect with each other. It's Arizona, Utah, New Mexico, and Colorado. She flips a coin right over the intersection and tries to let it help her make decisions about her life. I've always thought this is really cool and wanted to check it out for myself. It's about 10 hours each way from where I'm at in LA, so I thought I could drive there while doing this 1,000 tricks along the way. Anyway, we're almost at the next skate park. Let's get another session in. So I guess this is probably a good time for me to explain the rules of this challenge. So really the only main rule comes out of how do we define what a different trick is. What I came up with is each trick can only count once regardless of the obstacle. So for example, if you do a kickflip on flat ground, that counts as a trick. If after that you go into a kickflip down a 3-stair, that does not count as a new trick. You have already counted kickflip, you cannot count it again. But if you do a different trick, like a kickflip backside board slide or kickflip into manual, those are new tricks. And how that carries on to grinds is like this. If you do a backside 50-50 grind on a rail, you cannot count another backside 50-50 grind on a ledge. So if you went and backside 50-50 grinded a round rail, a square rail, a ledge, a curb, a handrail, you did not do 5 different tricks, you only did 1 trick. I know this is getting a little bit complicated, but again, front side and backside do count as different tricks. If you're a little bit confused what exactly front side and backside are when it comes to the tricks, well, honestly, get in line, because most skaters don't even really understand this. And as you can see, I have the trick names on the screen. There's hot debate about how to properly name tricks, especially when it comes to fakie. Fakie kind of ruins everything. I'm not trying to make this too complicated, but hopefully that makes somewhat sense. You can see I'm doing all the board slide, lip slide, feeble, and Smith variations. That's because I would rather do these on a rail than later on a ledge. The only exception I make to this obstacle rule is I will count a quarter pipe and a rail as 2 separate obstacles. So if you backside 50-50 a rail or a ledge, that counts once. Then if you backside 50-50 a quarter pipe, it can count again. Let me know what you think of these definitions. My chat during the live stream definitely had a lot to say about it, but I feel like this makes the most sense to really get different tricks rather than getting the same tricks over and over on different obstacles. I wanted to keep the tricks as legitimate and as classy as I possibly could. So my main rule was no feet on the ground, no bonelesses, no shenanigans like that. But you will see that I do have body varials, ollie norths, and reverts. My goal mainly was to be if anyone clips any singular trick out of this whole challenge, someone will say, yeah, that's a legit trick. Maybe it was a bit sketchy, but it's still legitimate. Well, that was an extremely long day, but we did successfully manage to do 227 tricks on the first day. To complement the great day, I thought we'll get a great meal. That's why we hit up Panda Express with some orange chicken. Then we did a bit more driving and saw this on the road. Honestly, I have absolutely no idea. Even when I slow this down, even when I pause it, I have no idea what this is. But thank God I didn't crash. Let me know in the comments if you have any clue. We drove a little more, kept our live stream going while we slept at the rest stop, and then it was time for day 2. Day 2, we found this beautiful skate park right on the lake with this lovely lakeside hip. Oh my dream quarter pipe scenario. We can rifle off on this. Next trick must be harder. I've been kind of trying to let the road trip and the whole vibe of the challenge tell me what to do. I didn't go in with too much strategy, so finding this quarter pipe, it felt like it was only right to do a little bit of quarter pipe digging, putting some absolute work on this. Now, if I'm honest, I feel like the quarter pipe tricks are probably the kind of, I don't want to say lamest, but maybe like the cheapest way to get a lot of tricks. You know, doing a switch tray flip on flat versus doing sort of a switch 50-50 to fakie on the quarter pipe is a little bit of a different vibe. But I just wanted to keep this as the most respectable variations. So I could go up axle stall 5-0 to feeble to nose grind to tail and then go back in. But to me, that's kind of lame. And you could do 20,000 tricks if you're just gonna mess around up there. But I try to keep them as legit as possible. One thing that I will say with my definitions is for the quarter pipe, like I said earlier, a rail and a quarter pipe are separate things. On the quarter pipe, I also distinguished between stall and grind. I feel like doing an axle stall and doing a 50-50 grind are different things. So you will see that reflected in the list. You will see that in this quarter pipe session. But honestly, I thought this was such a good obstacle that I really thought I would just maximize it. It's kind of funny to think that I went to this gigantic, honestly gigantic skate park with so many features, and then all I skate is just this tiny baby quarter pipe. I was kind of hoping to save the quarter pipe section for later on in the challenge when I got a little bit more desperate and not do it this early on day 2. But like I said, it's okay. I'm kind of just going with the flow and sort of seeing what happens. We did officially cross out of California into Arizona when we got to the skate park, so definitely I filled up on my gas, which was much cheaper than California. But yeah, I really liked the vibe of this park. It was cool. There was a cool scene. A bunch of people were hanging out, came up to me, say what's up. I enjoyed it. I think I would love to go back to this park and actually skate the other obstacles rather than only singularly focusing on this challenge. Like, look at that view, you know? Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But yeah, I am starting to get a little bit tired right now. I have been going for a long time. So why don't we dip off and take a little break in the lake? This time of year, the lake was very cold, but you know, I'm doing this on live stream. They were telling me to go in. They were telling me to stay in there for 1 minute, get a little bit of ice spot recovery action. So that is what we decided to do today. And I will admit, it was pretty cold. Once I was in for a little bit, it wasn't too bad, but I'm not also trying to freeze. Then I kind of came back to a beautiful sunset. I thought I could catch some really nice views of this extremely mellow hip. And I could do some of my flat ground tricks that I would prefer not to do on flat. So like, I'm not trying to laser and fakie laser on flat, but I will happily do it over this mellow hip. And like I said, there's no distinction between doing a flip trick over a hip, on flat, or downstairs. They all just count as one trick. With those tougher tricks out of the way, it is back to my favorite quarter pipe. So earlier, I was kind of doing all the stalls. Now I decided to do all the grinds. So like I said earlier, you see me doing a backside 50-50 axle stall. Now I'm doing backside 50-50 grinds and all the other grinds. This park was lit up too. Like I said, I got big love for this park. Lit up, so big, so perfect. I had a lot of fun here. Another difficulty of this challenge was actually trying to keep track of all the tricks that I do. So you might notice that when I'm doing tricks, I try to do them in sort of like a methodical way that it makes it easier for me to remember which tricks I have and haven't done. And I'm not just memorizing these in my mind. Like I said, I have the live stream with a trick counter on screen, and I have a notebook that I was writing every single trick down sort of as I did it. What I would tend to do is do, you know, maybe 3 to 5 tricks, write them in the book, then do another batch of tricks. Because right now these are still relatively easy that I can do them in not too many shots, whereas later on I'm gonna start getting into like 20 plus shots per one trick, and that's really where the nightmare comes from. You may notice too, occasionally some weird stuff happens in these supercuts. I'm wearing no shoes, I'm wearing no shirt, I got this weird strap around my chest. You know, I could answer the reasons why that happens, or I could just say, you know, this was broadcast live on my Twitch this whole time that I'm doing the challenge, and maybe it's a little bit of an inside joke, so if you do want to understand stuff like that, pull up to the Twitch. That was an absolutely huge day. We got so much done on the challenge, and I feel like we don't really need to skate a quarter pipe again the whole rest of the time. We're clocking out, and we're gonna call it a night. So we made it out to day 3. I found this kind of random skate park on the way, and I thought it's time to lock in on a ledge. This is really where you could probably get the most legitimate variations of every single trick. I was looking for a more perfect ledge. This one wasn't even that perfect, didn't even really have a proper ending, but I did find this other one. It was a little bit high for doing something like this. I wouldn't mind it being a little bit lower, but we'll take what we can get, you know. One challenge with this was actually trying to count right in the moment. This backside blunt slide right now was meant to be 420, but it actually only ended up being 415 because I miscounted a couple of the tricks, didn't write them down properly, blah, blah, blah. Of course, I rectified this towards the end, but in the moment, each day, it was a little bit hard to really understand what tricks to try, where to put my energy, and to keep track of everything at the same time. You can see here, I am truly, absolutely locking into the mythology of let's do a 50-50, let's do a 50-50 180, let's do a 50-50 180 the other way, let's do a 50-50 shove the other way. One discussion I had here with what we count as a different trick is, if I'm doing a 50, can I do a shove out and a nollie shove out? Can I do a 180 out and a nollie or fakie 180 out? That's something that I wasn't certain on if it is legit or not, but I ended up counting as separate tricks. You can kind of see in this supercut which is which. I also milk body varials as much as I can in this challenge. Like if I can 50 something, okay, I can 50 and body varial front side, 50 and body varial backside. I am distinguishing between the direction that I'm rotating for the body varials, and I think rightfully so, you know. But it was a fun thinking exercise, like really, like how many tricks can I do? So like now you see I'm into the pop shoves for all the variations, and I did all the 50s each stance and nollie and fakie in each stance, which, you know, does add up to quite a substantial amount, but still not all of the tricks. I thought I'd mix in a little bit of nose slides. Again, like they're easy-ish, but not like the most easy. You gotta remember as well, like I'm going all day. I'm not really redoing the tricks if I land them kind of sketchy. Like, I'm so grateful that I landed a nollie front nose shove. Like, on to the next trick, you know, we got so many tricks that we need to land. And again, in my count, this was coming up to the 500. I thought I would do a special trick for 500, but it ended up being 495, which was this front tail kickflip out. That took a little bit too long, if I'm honest. But we did get it done, and we just kept going with a few random ones, like these blunt slides, and some fakey nonsense in too. And I absolutely smoked myself so badly on that stupid nollie tail slide. You know, who does nollie frontside tail slides? Kind of a weird trick. It bit back. That really hurt my hip. Like that was a pretty gruesome fall, you know. But yeah, some back tails, one of my favorite tricks for sure. So it was nice to get a couple of variations in of that. But yeah, this was a long, hard session. The supercut doesn't quite do it justice to how I felt in the moment, because this was many tricks. I was the first at this skate park and the last to leave. Just a full day of just grinding it out on this ledge. I was happy there's no lights. Let's take it easy, have an early day, with the plan of making it to our destination of the Four Corners Monument in the morning. Woke up on the very exciting morning to finally get to our destination for the whole trip, the Four Corners Monument. Everything has been leading up to this beautiful moment, so I wanted to summon my inner Skylar White and really enjoy it.
We're in Arizona.
Now we're in Utah. Now we're in Colorado. Now we're in New Mexico. Look, here it is. Boom. Under God. 4 states. Here meet in freedom. So I flipped my tech deck to kind of see if it would give me any insight about my life. But I don't know if it really did, but you know, let's go back to New Mexico. I did get a little bit of a skate in and I kick flipped over it. I'll admit it wasn't first try and then I immediately got kicked out for doing this. But yeah, worth it, I guess. 10 hours for this pick. I headed to a skate park not too far away and I found this really cool pump track. It was so random, just out of nowhere. And then there was some kind of council worker guy that was excited that I was using the pump track. And he actually wanted to do like a little mini interview. So if you look up this random skate parks council newsletter, there might be some kind of Rick interview in there. But anywho, we can't pussyfoot around too long. It is time to absolutely lock in. We got this beautiful metal prefab park and I thought, hey, we haven't really done any manuals yet. So why don't we try to once again, just really go down the list and say, okay, I can do manual every variation out. Then I can do nose manual every variation out. Then I can do half cab manual every variation out. You know, just like I say, methodical approach to really try to just like add up some tricks, you know. Just think about how many 1,000 of one thing is, and like even just doing 100 tricks is quite a lot. So right now, you know, we're averaging more than 100 tricks a day, so why don't we just put in some absolute work. I was quite proud of some of the tricks I was doing, you know, kickflip manual front shove out, like not too bad. Kickflip manual kickflip out, also good. You know, we're feeling good about it. Honestly, out of all the different things you can skate, I feel like manuals is my least favorite. I feel like maybe I say that too often, but I'm not really much of a manual guy. I don't mind a switch nose manu for fun, but I'm never really going to a spot and just like kickflip manual tray flip out. Like, I don't know, that was never really my vibe. But luckily at this prefab park we found a little mega launcher and we could get a couple of grabs. Honestly, I probably should have done more grabs. I really just kind of did the basic ones. Like I didn't even do any switch or fakie or anything. But we had like a little bit of an interesting altercation. I'm curious to see what you guys' take of this is. Yeah. Alright, we're time to go. How's it going? I think we are. Just Arizona. Nice. Hey, from Phoenix. Yeah? Yeah. I'm just on a little skate trip. But now that it started raining, I think I'm gonna dip. I'm just gonna drive a little bit for now. I'll see you guys later. Have a good one. Just a little bit. See ya. I don't know if you think I'm overreacting or what, but I did get a bad vibe from these guys. Like, I really don't know why they put their drinks down. They weren't skating, there was no one around. They came directly to me, put their drinks down, and were like ready for something to happen. I thought it was kind of weird. I was happy to just get out of there, whatever. It's kind of started to rain anyway. And you know, that kind of led me into my next problem. It started to rain, and I'm driving, and just slowly over time, the rain gets heavier, and then it kind of stops being rain and starts being something else. And I'm like looking around, I'm like, bro, it's snowing. There's snow everywhere. Then it wasn't long before there legitimately was snow everywhere. I'm in the desert, like this is so random. But I thought it was cool at first. I was like, hey, let me get out and do a little trick and just enjoy the snow. Then I kind of thought like, hey, I'm in this random Prius with just like maybe not the newest tires. Like, man, I gotta get out of here. I didn't really want to drive in the snow. And luckily I did find this plow and I coasted behind the plow for a little bit. But I gotta say, that led me to my next problem. But I did manage to go behind the plow for long enough to make it out of there. Then it stopped raining, stopped snowing, and we were back on the road normally. So I wake up the next morning to discover that the plow shot up a rock at my window and it cracked my windshield. This was a bummer, yo. Like, my windshield was perfect. Now it just got this huge crack for nothing. It's like, do I gotta replace this now? Like, alright, whatever. Back on the road, I decided to drive to the next place. It was gonna be an abandoned water park. I was very excited. It's always a fun time. I streamed there once before. I get there, insanely windy. I'm not just saying it was unpleasantly windy, it was literally like 30-mile-an-hour winds. So we didn't even really get to enjoy the abandonedness. We just tried to hide in this kind of like little dilapidated, somewhat shelter. I used like a tumbleweed as a broom, and I was just trying to do some flat ground. I was really trying, but every time the wind would just blow in more rocks and debris and stuff, and I kept hitting the rocks and debris. It was really challenging for me to smash out just any tricks in this moment. I'll admit, don't go back and watch the VOD. If you were there live, you remember what was happening. Rick was getting a little bit angry, a little bit upset, but we did manage to do some of the harder-ish flat ground tricks. I thought, you know, we did all the manis, all the grabs, all the quarter pipe stuff. Like, all right, let's try to do a few flip tricks. And then I thought I could do a couple of manis on this short little thing, but honestly, I had had enough. The wind was really bothered me, and I was out of there. So I did actually make it all the way back to LA now. So we just were at the monument. We drove back quite quickly. I'm back to the LA area. I thought I could rifle out a few more tricks sort of before we run out of daylight. And now I kind of got the genius idea, like, Ricky, okay, what about 50-50s into tail slides? And then from the tail slide, you can do the bunch of variations out. I was feeling extremely good about this because now I can extrapolate both ways. I can do my 50s into tails to all variations, and I can nollie into all the 50s. I can fakie into all the 50s. I can switch into all the 50s. And really, now we're thinking 1,000 tricks mindset, because we can truly unlock more and more and more and more tricks. Some of these tricks are so funky, like fakie ollie switchback 50 to tail slide to big spin. Like, I feel like no one has ever cared or bothered to ever do that. I think in the stream I said, like, I am the only person that will do this trick this month in the world, I guarantee. Like, no one is stupid enough to do these very, very stupid tricks. I can't emphasize enough how, like, silly some of these tricks are. You know, they are definitely legitimate tricks, they're definitely makes, but at the same time, these are tricks that are incredibly undesirable and dumb and stupid. But that's the whole point of this challenge. If I wanted to go film a stylish trick that I wanted to do, I wouldn't be doing a 1,000 trick challenge. I would just be living my life like every other skater in the world. But there's only one person doing the 1,000 trick challenge, and there's only one person doing these dumb tricks. But I had a good time with it. Put in quite a bit of work before the sunset. And like I said, this was actually on Valentine's Day, so believe it or not, the stream does not end. We gotta take our beautiful, beautiful girlfriend out to a lovely romantic evening. Me, her, and the chat. Sounds absolutely perfect. Where should we go? Why don't we go to Olive Garden? And it was actually quite a pleasant, fun time. Do not mention the breadsticks, guys. If you were there live, you know we do not talk about the breadsticks ever again. It's a little bit of a sore subject, but I even managed to get a flat ground trick after the dinner, and that was that. Believe it or not, now we have made it to day 6. This might sound a little bit silly and foolish, but for some reason I thought I could drive to the Four Corners, drive back, and do 1,000 tricks in less than 6 days. So I don't know why I thought that. I was definitely wrong. But right now this is taking longer than I thought. So what we're trying to do is lock in on the ledge, and this is the more difficult ledge tricks. You know, we're doing the K-flips in, we're doing the 180s in. Okay, why don't we 180 into all the 50-50s? And this dude absolutely smoked himself. I don't really know what the full story was, but I hope he's good. Like, that was kind of dangerous, low-key, with this big piece of concrete. But anyway, then I was back to it, and yeah, so we're just trying to hit all these, basically as many 50 variations as we can by adding new tricks in. So now we can do the half cabs in. Okay, now we can do every single trick out of the half cabs. I'll admit, this part of the challenge got a little bit repetitive for me, for sure, but I did feel good that I wasn't kind of like panicking or stressed, like, oh no, what trick am I going to do? What's going to be the next trick? It's like I just had this mapped out, like, all right, I'll do all the 180s to all the variations. I'll do the switch 180 to all the variations. I'll do the back 180 to all the variations. So it kind of gave me a little bit of peace of mind. It's almost like running a marathon. You know exactly what to do when you run, and you just kind of like go through the motion. That's what I was honestly doing this day. And like, I got to the skate park pretty early, and I just went for the whole day. I absolutely hogged this little ledge obstacle and just smashed out like every possible thing that I could think of. So now again, I'm doing the 5-0s, and then we do the nollie 5-0s, we do all the variations out, and we just keep going. We just keep going. To me, it's kind of fun that we can be so deep in the challenge, and we haven't even done like, you know, a backside 5-0 or frontside 5-0 yet. Like, I think that's kind of cool. And that's not normally the sort of trick order, but like I said, is like I'm trying to go for the approach where I don't forget what tricks I've done. Because if I was just randomly doing tricks, let's do a crook, let's do a feeble, let's do a 5-0, I would have instantly forgot. So I really, I thought it was a good idea for me to do this kind of approach where we kind of like stick to a theme, do all the variations, switch themes, switch obstacles. So here I thought maybe I could switch it up to a different part of the park. But I was wrong. I think I like my DIY, and I never did my nollie manuals on the steel manual pad because it was a little bit high to feel sort of like controlled to just do a million nollie manuals. So I thought this smaller pad was a better opportunity to get those out of the way. Then we got back to work with the other tricks. Janice was kind enough to come and visit me and put in some work on her computer, do a little bit of live action commentating. If you want an action sports commentator, definitely hire Janice. Janice Spiteri, amazing, beautiful, amazing Olympic athlete. But yeah, look, now we're getting into the nose grinds. That many tricks in, still haven't done backside nose grind. Can you believe it? And I've smoked myself many times throughout this challenge so far. But yeah, these ones, I like the nollie front shove out of those nose grinds. It always feels good, so I was hyped on that. Jaren also showed up, filmed a couple TikToks. He actually brought me a nice pizza, so that was very kind of him. It's fun to sort of like have the gang checking in on me while I'm literally just like working so hard. And that was all the work we put in for that day. Sunset Park closed, that was it. We made it to day 7. Welcome to the 1 week anniversary of doing this nonsense. Again, I was inspired by yesterday. I kind of had the genius idea. You know what, Ricky? Doing a 50-50 grind to a manual is, yes, it's a combo, but it is also a new trick. So now we can basically do 50-50 to manual and every variation, 50-50 to nose manual and every variation. I thought I would spare you a little bit and we can watch 4 at once and you can kind of see the differences, because these are all very, very similar. The 50s, the nollie 50s, they are very similar, but I feel like it kind of looks cool in this sort of order where you can see all the different variations and sort of like the differences between how I sort of like do each trick each time. I'll admit this session was very, very, very repetitive. So now we're switching up to front side. You can see how I'm trying to do the tricks out of front side, which was faster, my front side 50-50 manuals or my backside 50-50 manuals. I have no idea. Let me know in the comments below. But yeah, I feel like this kind of looks cool. I've never really seen some kind of split screen action like this. I'm kind of here for it. And yeah, we are absolutely just rifling. And like, this is what our life is. You want to do 1,000 tricks. You're going to do a lot of tricks that are very similar with minor variations. Like, that is, you know, the main way that this is possible. If you wanted to do this without doing things like that, good luck, because this will legitimately take you years to do. You want to do it in 7 or 8 days, then welcome in to my absolute life hack. The body varials out of manuals are so weird. I would recommend trying, if you can manual or nose manual, try and do a front side and a backside body varial out of a nose manual or manual. It feels very, very strange. I think I got a little bit better throughout this challenge. I don't think I'd ever done one previously before. But yeah, sometimes I land them kind of sketchy and I take it because we are doing 1,000 tricks. But I was relatively happy with my pop shoves in. I feel like I had good control. Janice also came to visit me, playing a little bit of a Harry Potter game. I was just eagerly watching. Very supportive fiance. Lovely, Janice. Thank you so much for visiting me. But yeah, today the plan really was, let's do these combos, Ricky, because I think this is the path to success. So this is day 7. I was really thinking like, all right, it's not gonna end today, but why don't we set ourselves up where we're in a position that on day 8, the end is in sight. So I was trying to make today like one of the biggest days, which is crazy seeing as it's like so far towards the end of the challenge too, because the challenge does get progressively harder and harder and harder. Now you can see I got a little mirror effect going. Backside 5-0 versus frontside 5-0. Same tricks, but one's backside, one's frontside. Who did it better? I would say I prefer backside tricks in general, just how it feels, but it's kind of fun to just compare them, you know? And like, it's fun to think that I literally did all these tricks in one day as well. This is one day after this is on the 7th day of skating non-stop all the time. Like, I'm proud of myself for the effort that I'm putting in here. Like, yeah, it's not the cleanest tricks ever, not the hardest tricks ever, but yeah, it's still like relatively hard. Nollie 5-0 manual, like, that's not that easy with every variation and the stupid body varials out. But yeah, this was a fun sesh. I feel like this is a nice way to present the tricks too, so it's like not too slow. It gives you a little bit of a visual stimulation. If you made it to this far in the video, 30 minutes in, yo, shout out to you. You are a real one. If you are in the live stream and you're watching this video, let me know in the comments, because you are an absolute G. You are extremely real one. I really do appreciate you being here right now. But yeah, I love this idea of doing these kind of challenges on Twitch. I think it's a cool pathway to help me create content. Yeah, that really hurt, by the way. It even interrupts my voiceover. That's how badly it hurt. I think it's a really cool way to do like longer projects and make it like actually possible for like, you know, like a smaller mid type creator like me to be able to do like really big ideas. I do them live and then it eventually becomes a YouTube video. So I love this kind of Twitch format. Follow me on Twitch if you are ever interested to catch the live action too. But I do appreciate you watching here on YouTube. I love making videos for YouTube. But yeah, long ass day, nose grinds to nose menu. Nollie nose grind to nose menu. What are you thinking, Rick? That's too much. But yeah, we're wrapping it up. The park's gonna close again, no lights. And what I did want to do is really try to relax, rest up. I promised the gang a hot tub stream. Maybe kind of weird to just watch random 33-year-old dudes sit in a hot tub and just talk to a microphone. But hey, I'm not judging. I streamed it. It's fine with me. But yeah, that wrapped up a very, very big day, and we're getting ready for the end in sight on the next day. Day 8, we were feeling good. It's gonna end. The end is possible. We're gonna make it through. As long as I don't get injured and go to the hospital right now, I'm definitely ending it. So I mentioned earlier that I kind of lost count a little bit. What I did in this session is I kind of did a few bullshitty tricks, so here's a little freestyle section. You let me know in the comments if these don't count as tricks. I'll accept your criticism. But I just did these. I actually did like 30 or so of these tricks. So I was like, okay, if I've miscounted by 30, at least I've got all these bullshit tricks, and I will just start counting some of the bullshit tricks. So I miscounted by like 6 different things. So it used those 6 freestyle tricks, which is fine. And then as you can see here, I start off with a bit funky ollie north 180s, and then I don't know if this is called like small spins, where the board does a 180 and you do a body rail, and then I can do them with the heels, switch, and nollie, which I'm kind of hyped on. I feel like I should do that into grind. And then a couple more harder ones, lay flip, switch, double heel, double kickflip body rail. Shout out to this little scooter kid, he was having fun. The McStick body rail. I thought I didn't really do many advanced rail grinds too, just kind of the basics, so I thought we could do a few more complicated ones on this like Kirby thing. Nice thick rail to just sort of unleash a little bit. And like the average difficulty of these tricks, you know, it's not that easy to do a front board big spin out, but like it's also not that hard either. So like, yeah, tray lip, cool, but like it's not insane. I feel like honestly anyone that can kind of like do a switch tray level of skill could absolutely do this challenge, but I think I am the only one dumb enough. As you can see, I'm doing willy grinds, so I'm obviously an idiot. But that was actually kind of fun. Willy grinding on that thing was actually way more fun than I thought it would be. But look how many willy grinds we just did then. Final stretch, I thought we'd do a couple more harder ledge tricks. I mean, nollie crook 180's not that insane either, but I thought we're really getting close. We can kind of taste it. Janice is there too. Everyone's excited. This was kind of a cool moment for me, honestly, because like the past 8 days have been building up to this, and it's finally gonna be over. I can finally rest. I can finally just stop doing 1 billion tricks. But yeah, it's cool. It's been a really cool journey. Like honestly, you know, no, I don't think that anyone has ever done 1,000 tricks in this short of a time period. Probably very few people have done 1,000 different tricks. I would say a lot of skaters could do this, but they don't necessarily have done this. Like you saw how I just going through every variation. A lot of the tricks I had never done before. But I was proud of myself to make it to the end here. I'm put in a lot of work, and we finally got to the last trick of this dark slide. I saved it to the end, and we did it on this nice rail. Oh. Let's go! 1,000!
Who is here, I am here, and I will always be here. For I am
We
here, and here
achieved
is
our dreams. We achieved
RAMFROT was here.
1,000 tricks.
Cheer 100, I was
Pointlessly.
here.
Yeah.
I was feeling really good about it, and I think it is a cool thing that I've achieved, even though it is extremely pointless, and I 100% acknowledge that. But I'm so proud. I think it was cool. From the very first pop of the first landed trick to the land of the last trick, this is how long it took me to complete all that. I think it's some kind of world record. I think maybe too, this is the only video on YouTube that has 1,000 different tricks in it as well. I'm claiming 2 world records. Let's go. But that is it from me, guys. Pull up on Twitch if you want to see more fun challenges. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know in the comments what I should do next, what I should try. But that is going to be it. I like skate. See you on the next one.